Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today, well, it's focused on one of the most abrupt and maybe financially painful transfer stories we've seen lately.
That's right.
We are looking at James Ward-Prowse, JWP. And this rumor, it's so quick, it kind of perfectly captures I suppose, the madness of player valuation in football today.
Absolutely. The speed is key here.
Yeah, the puzzle it's pretty stunning. You've got a player signed for a massive fee, what was it, $35 million?
35 million, yeah.
Just over a year ago.
Yeah. And now there are strong links, like really strong whispers, about him heading back, maybe even on loan, to the club he just left, Southampton.
It's a potential reversal that raises so many questions.
It feels like a spectacular failure of a transfer, really. And we're going to use our sources today to sort of map out the full financial side, the tactical side, everything that might lead to this.
And we've looked at reports, mainly via transfer feed, citing people like Dean Jones at Team Talk, also TalkSport features in this. We're really zooming in on this potential very rapid move from West Ham back to Southampton.
And what's crucial for you, the listener, to grasp is, like you said, it's not just about form dipping. We're dissecting a huge potential loss. Something like $27 million in value that West Ham might be staring at.
$27 million, wow.
Yeah, that financial aspect, that potential hemorrhage, that's really driving this story, I think.
Okay, let's unpack it then. Dean Jones.
Yeah.
He's reporting more than just, vague speculation.
No, it's quite specific.
He actually used the phrase, didn't he? Already a whisper. That JWP will get the chance to go back to Southampton.
And that a January transfer is going to be on the cards. That's pretty direct language.
It really is. And you have to frame this against that initial cost. JWP, central midfielder, moves from Southampton to West Ham summer 2023. That $35 million, that wasn't just, spare change.
No, it was a major statement, a strategic investment.
Exactly. So the fact that less than 18 months later we're talking about a U-turn, the speed is what makes it so, compelling, but also potentially disastrous for West Ham.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is the sort of symmetry of it all. The sources suggest both sides are looking for a way out.
Both sides?
Yeah, the player is reportedly open to a return, maybe looking for that familiar ground, regular football.
Okay.
And crucially, West Ham are apparently open to offers.
Right, so it's less a negotiation and more damage control.
It feels a bit like West Ham might be ready to just, throw in the towel on what looks like a bad investment, admitting defeat less than a year and a half after writing the check.
Before we really dig into the money side, though, we should probably establish the on-pitch context, because that's the immediate trigger for all this financial fallout, presumably.
Yeah, the performance or lack thereof seems key.
TalkSport had some pretty stark details suggesting things went south pretty quickly for him there.
They absolutely did. TalkSport pointed to a very public signal that the situation isn't stable. JWP was apparently axed from the squad completely for West Ham's recent draw at Everton, a 1-1 draw.
Axed completely, not even on the bench.
Not even on the bench. For a player like him, former captain at his old club, set-piece king, $35 million signing being totally excluded, that's a huge statement.
Yeah, that screams surplus to requirements, doesn't it?
It's the clearest sign you can get that the managers maybe lost faith or the player just doesn't fit the current plan.
And we need to connect this to his profile too, right? He's 30, turns 31 soon.
Yeah, 31 in November. And when an established player like that, someone brought in for immediate impact, gets sidelined so quickly, it often points to something fundamental.
Like a tactical mismatch.
Could be. Maybe he couldn't adapt to their system, the defensive side, maybe the team's style changed, whatever the tactical why is, that manager's decision directly hits his market value hard.
Okay, so that leads us to the really eye-watering part, the financial fallout. That comparison between the $35 million they paid and his current estimated transfer value, the ETV, which is just cratered, hasn't it?
It's plummeted. The reported ETV now is just $7.7 million.
From 35 down to under 8 million in barely 18 months.
The drop is, it's horrific financially. But let's think about what that means in accounting terms for West Ham.
Okay, yeah.
They signed him, presumably, let's say, on a 4-year deal back in 2023. Standard practice is amortization spreading that $35 million fee over the contract length.
Right, so they write off a bit each year.
Exactly. So $35 million over 4 years is roughly $8.75 million written down annually on their books.
Okay, so he's been there about 18 months, 1.5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So his value on their books, the book value, is still way higher than 7.7 million, right?
Precisely. After 18 months, they've only amortized about, what, 13.1 million of that initial cost?
So the remaining book value is, carry the one, around 21.9 million.
Around that, yeah. That's the asset value still sitting on their ledger. Now, if they sell him in January for that ETV of 7.7 million, or maybe even less,
they have to book the difference as a loss immediately.
Instantly. It hits the profit and loss statement straight away. That's a guaranteed accounting loss of over 14 million right there. On top of the cash already spent, wages paid. It just underlines why the source says West Ham are resigned to taking a big loss. That has massive implications for FFP, future budgets, everything.
That detailed breakdown really shows the pressure they're under. It's not just about getting some money back. It's about stopping the bleeding on the balance sheet.
Definitely.
And adding to that pressure is the contract situation. You mentioned the amortization, but how long does he actually have left?
Well, the report suggests he only has about 18 months left on his current deal.
Oh, okay.
And that ticking clock is another huge factor hammering down the ETV.
Because a buyer gets less security, less potential sell-on value.
Exactly. It really forces West Ham's hand. They either let the contract run down further, guaranteeing an even smaller return later, or they cut their losses in January.
Even if it means swallowing that massive loss now.
Right. Get him off the wage bill, get some cash back, however small, and just move on.
Okay, so let's flip this around. Let's look at Southampton's side. They're reportedly interested in what the sources called a second raid on West Ham.
Yeah, that's the phrase used. But the mechanism is interesting.
How so?
They're not necessarily looking to buy him outright, it seems. The reports specifically mention Southampton seeking a loan deal.
A loan for their former captain.
It makes a lot of sense in this climate, actually, given that huge drop in ETV and West Ham's likely desperation to just get his salary off the books.
A loan is the easiest path.
Logistically, yes. For West Ham, it means instantly shedding what's probably a very high wage. They avoid having to publicly crystallize that massive accounting loss right now. In January, they can, sort of rent out their expensive mistake for a bit.
Okay, makes sense for West Ham in a way.
Yeah.
And for Southampton?
Oh, for Southampton, it's potentially low risk, high reward, and there's the sentimentality factors.
Huge factor. He's a legend there.
Bringing him back, even just temporarily, could be a massive psychological boost for the squad, for the fans, especially if they're pushing for promotion.
So a loan, maybe with an option to buy later.
That could work. Avoids a big fee up front for a player who's now over 30, but they still get his quality back in the building.
That mix of emotion and strategy is really interesting. But Southampton aren't just relying on JWP potentially falling into their laps, are they? We need to give that context, too.
No, absolutely not. And this is important for you, the listener, to note. While the JWP story grabs the headlines because of the history and the drama,
right,
Southampton's actual reported strategy seems broader. They've got other central midfielders on their shortlist.
Like who?
Younger players, potentially better long-term investments. Names like Jay Rudoni, Idumbia, L. O'Brien have been mentioned.
Okay, so they're covering their bases.
Exactly. It shows they're balancing that emotional pull of bringing a hero home with the financial prudence of looking at players who fit a perhaps more sustainable model. They're not totally dependent on West Ham making this particular move happen.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What does it all mean?
Yeah.
It's a bizarre, kind of painful story arc, isn't it?
It really is.
James Ward-Prowse, club icon, moves for $35 million, seen as a step up. Then boom, squad exclusion, value collapses, and less than 2 years later, serious talk of him going back, maybe just on loan.
Yeah, the cycle is incredibly short.
The key takeaway here, I think, is just how volatile player value is. It's stark. It's not just about how well someone plays. It's about fit, the manager, the system, and as you explained so well, those accounting pressures, the amortization schedules.
They all play a huge part.
That gap, $35 million purchase price down to a $7.7 million ETV, it just shows that top-level recruitment is, well, it's inherently risky, massively so.
It certainly looks less like investment and more like, well, high-stakes gambling sometimes. Yep. And given that JWP himself is reportedly open to going back, it throws up a bigger question, doesn't it? Beyond just this one deal.
Like what?
Like in today's game, when does that familiarity, that comfort, maybe that history with a club actually outweigh chasing the bigger stage or the bigger contract?
Interesting point.
And what would this kind of rapid circular transfer, a 35 million player effectively return to sender inside 2 years? what would that actually mean for how we see the transfer market? Is it predictable at all?
Hmm.
How sustainable are these huge deals if clubs can regret them financially and tactically this quickly?
Lots to think about there as the January window gets closer. A really fascinating case study.